What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about SoundHound, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Friday's pullback, largely attributed to the tariffs. A lot of people on social media feel that the market got it out of the system, priced it into kind of the market right now. So going into next week, it should be a fresh start. And I kind of agree, kind of don't agree. We'll just have to, I guess, wait and see what does happen. But there is a lot of big data points coming out this week that could really move the market. So starting off on Monday, you have ISM manufacturing. Current forecast is 49.8. So in theory, getting very close to that 50, and it's actually improved tenfold. I think the low was like 46. That was in August. So definitely it is moving higher and kind of improving. Anything above 50 shows more of an expansion within the broader market. Anything below 50 just show more of a contraction. So that one is going to be a key one to watch for. Jolt numbers on Tuesday, and that in specific is going to be one data point that the Feds look for potentially any cuts in the foreseeable future. So that is coming out Tuesday, 9 a.m. And then moving on from here, Thursday, same old, so initial jobless claims and so forth. Friday, non-farm payroll, and then also unemployment. So a lot of big data coming out. Unemployment, the current forecast is 4.1. So should make for a very fun time. Over and above these crazy data points, which in among itself has the ability to move the market, you also have a lot of big companies unveiling the earnings. So I did put out a video. It is actually rather long of me just talking for like almost 20 minutes, but I do go over all the big companies unveiling the earnings this week and expectations, how you can play them through options. I posted it under this channel, so I really recommend a lot of you to kind of pop over there and take a look. But I talk on, for instance, Palantir, AMD, Snapchat, which I'm not a fan of, Uber, Disney, and so forth. So I think in reality for SoundHound, Palantir and AMD are going to be ones to really watch for. Depending on what they give for future guidance, the whole tech sector is going to really move in accordance with that. So I think SoundHound could really piggyback off of that. But specific to SoundHound, there isn't any new conferences. I think they've kind of exhausted them, so there's nothing really planned for that. Nothing on social media to insinuate anything coming this week. Hopefully you do see some actual PRs, which in general, with it now being February the 1st, or I guess this video is coming out February the 2nd, you would assume that they will be announcing the date of their earnings soon, because here it does show February the 28th, but that is unannounced, unofficial. That's just an estimate. So SoundHound putting out the earnings might be the next big catalyst. And similar to a lot of other companies in the sector, I think there is just going to be a lot of big acquisitions coming. And one thing to really listen for during that earnings is going to be what they plan on doing with that 500 million, that recent S3 that they just put out. I feel that there's more to it, more acquisitions. SoundHound absolutely love their acquisitions. So yeah, that is going to be most likely the next big catalyst and could be announced probably this week. Just my thoughts. But as far as a lot of the data points I did bring up, all of them are going to be obviously reacted by shorts, or I guess shorts are going to react on them. Whatever. It's been a long day. My apologies. But 33.22% of the free float is being shorted. So that's what we're going into this upcoming week with. Kind of crazy, very high stuff. 109.34 million shares overall are being shorted. You do see some signs of manipulation as per usual. And what I mean by that is this. So cost to borrow minimum is flat. Essentially what happens is if you are shorting, there's a couple of things you have to pay. You have to pay pretty much to borrow money in general. So you have to borrow to kind of lend. So and usually whenever you're shorting, your broker tacks on a certain margin room. So let's say your overall dollar value is like 100,000 or whatever, they'll bump it up to like 110, 120. So you do have to pay all of that as though you're borrowing it. Second thing you do have to pay for is this. So you have to pay to borrow shares. But you have this right here. So there is a broker out there physically omitting that. So you don't actually have to pay to short SoundHound. So I see that as a very big sign of manipulation. Even though essentially it's not that crazy, so this 5.78%, that's an annual rate. So even that in general isn't all that high, but the fact that you do see cost to borrow minimum like flat, that is definitely interesting. Some other stocks I do cover under this channel, sometimes on occasion you see it negative, and that one is SoFi. And I think we can already tell SoFi being in the finance sector, brokerages, direct correlation, competition. So it's interesting. I'll leave it at that. But moving on from here though, looking at options, you did see a little bit of an uptick on Friday, so more and more entities are starting to pay attention a little bit to SoundHound and play it through options, with it closing at $14.15. This is the open interest. So ultimately you do have this right here, so the 6,000 at the 14, 2,000 at that 13.50, and then 1,000 at that 13.50, all in the money. But that's relatively small chump change. That's only 80,000 shares essentially, so you won't really be seeing all these crazy spikes because of that. So that's kind of the downside of doing options, is all of this right here does expire worthless. As far as looking forward into this upcoming week, you're not really seeing any crazy walls, so most likely not seeing any potential gamma squeeze or anything like that. So I think it is just going to be the technicals as big as like being one of the big driving factors. But with it at $14.15, trading between this pivot and this S1, 1401 is going to be that next strong support. And then aside from that, 1301, $15.64 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And actually what I'm going to do is I'll quickly go back over here and give you an overview of this. So the bulls are anticipating for this week for it to be back at roughly around $17. That seems to be the good consensus, 17, 17.50. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 14. So based on that and where it closed, there is a little bit more upside. So that's kind of a positive if you want to think about it like that. But no matter what though, this upcoming week, more specifically Monday, is going to be very important for SoundHound, only because of the technicals where it is. So as of right now, it is slightly above the ALMA, and unfortunately it is below that 50-day moving average. So if SoundHound was to break down and kind of get below that ALMA, this is where, historically speaking, I know I've brought this up in the past and I've kind of been giving warning like signals at the beginning of January that if it was to break below this 50-day moving average, then blah blah blah. But historically, if it does break below that, then this is where you see a roughly like a 30% pullback. Again, history doesn't always repeat itself, but 50-day moving average on a lot of speculative stocks such as SoundHound is a very big deal. So kind of watch for that. So right now that is sitting at $14.79. So come Monday, really watch for SoundHound to close above that. If not, then essentially you might see a little bit of a additional pullback. As far as right now, that 100-day moving average is sitting at $10 and change. So that one is going to be another key support level. So kind of just refer back over here, take a note of some of the strong support and resistance points. So you have that 1401, 1301, 1139, and then that $10 range, which is that 100-day moving average. So let me know your viewpoint on SoundHound. Are you buying? Are you selling? Where do you see things going for this upcoming week? Do you think it is going to be breaking below all this and get to, let's say, the $11 range? Or do you think we're going to have a secondary push? Consumers kind of getting a second wind and really propelling a lot of stocks such as SoundHound higher, maybe retesting that 17. What is your overall thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options on crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers. And tonight I'm going to be putting out my targets for a lot of these companies unveiling their earnings, and similarly how you can play them through options. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and with all that, appreciate all of you watching.